Hello everyone. This video contains the information regarding the biofertilizers and the different types of microorganisms which are acting as the uh, basic organisms for catalyzing and channelizing the chemicals in the form of fertilizers for the benefit of the plants. So let's see what is the basic definition for the biofertilizers. Biofertilizer is basically a substance which contains living microorganisms which, when applied to seeds, plant, plant surfaces, or soil, they colonize the rhizosphere or the interior of the plant and promotes the growth by increasing the supply or availability of the primary nutrients to the host plant. Biofertilizers basically add nutrients through the natural process of nitrogen fixation, solubilizing the phosphorus and stimulating the plant growth through the synthesis of growth promoting substances. So, most of the biofertilizers are the microorganisms which bring about a soil nutrient enrichment, maximize the ecological benefit, and minimize the environmental hazards. For this purpose, the specific microorganisms such as bacteria, cyanobacteria, fungus, and most of the other organisms, they are cultivated in a scientific form, that is inside the cultured form inside the laboratories, and then supplied to the farmers so that they can be utilized in the fields. The supply of these microorganisms require some suitable media. So these mediums are definitely they are being prepared in the lab itself. So during this period the microorganisms they multiply and increase in their population, and finally the packets containing the biofertilizers are distributed to the farmers. So the microorganisms in the biofertilizers, they restores the soil's natural nutrient cycle and build some soil organic matter. Through the use of biofertilizers, healthy plants can be grown while enhancing the sustainability and the health of the soil. The biofertilizers can be expected to reduce the use of synthetic fertilizers and pesticides, but they are not yet able to replace their use, since they play very crucial role and preferred. The scientific term for such beneficial bacteria is basically plant growth promoting rhizobacteria, which is PGPR. So as you can see here, this is a picture of a leguminous plant which shows the root nodule, and inside this root nodule there lies a bacterium which is basically known as rhizobium. So what is the significance of this bacterium, rhizobium? Ultimately, rhizobial bacterium or rhizobium is acting as a biofertilizer, and it helps in symbiotic nitrogen fixation in case of leguminous plants. So one of the most important source of biofertilizer is through the use of this bacteria, that is rhizobium, which form an efficient symbiotic relationship with the leguminous plant, and it can fix up to 100 to 500 kgs of nitrogen per hectare of land. So the fixed nitrogen is used up by the leguminous plant, and however, a sizable amount of fixed nitrogen is left behind in the soil in the form of residues, which can be ultimately utilized by the succeeding crops. So, the bacteria Rhizobium leguminarium, it occurs freely in the soil but fails to fix nitrogen in the free state. So it multiplies as soon as it gets the rhizosphere of the leguminous plants. It enters into their root and forms a specialized structure which is known as root nodule. As you can see, the root nodule, these are the bulge out structures in from the roots of the leguminous plants, and these bacteria, they fix atmospheric nitrogen only in the root nodules, and that too when present in their bacterial form. So the recent investigation, they have shown that some strains of rhizobium can fix nitrogen in free living state under special laboratory condition. So the genus Rhizobium, which include many species, and each species further includes many strains. It has been observed that most of these specific strains of Rhizobium, they get symbiotically associated with the specific species of leguminous plant, like Rhizobium leguminosarium is the species of plant which is found in pea plants, Rhizobium milloloti and in alfalfa plant, Rhizobium trifoli in case of clover leaf, Rhizobium lupini in case of lupins, and Rhizobium japonicum in case of soya beans. So therefore it is very much important to apply specific strain of Rhizobium to a particular leguminous crop in order to get the maximum advantage. So usually the biofertilizers or strains of Rhizobia, they are used as seed inoculants during the sowing, and the seeds are coated with the Rhizobium culture before sowing. Sometimes the soil is also inoculated with the culture. In the beginning, Rhizobium cultures were based on agar-agar medium, and which were replaced by soil-based medias. Nowadays, peat and lignite, they are being used, and they are mixed with the Rhizobium, and this Rhizobium culture is ultimately mixed up with the seed which is being shown into the you can say the cultivated land. Therefore the combination of rhizobial culture and phosphate is generally recommended, and application of this bacterium, that is Rhizobium inoculum, is specifically needed for proper storage and proper selection of the strain based on the soil characteristic, the pH of the soil and salinity of the soil, also the moisture content and temperature of that area, and it is specified for a different sort of strains or species of the leguminous plant. So this is basically the basic role that this bacteria is having in nitrogen fixation. So biofertilizers, basically they are providing the eco-friendly sort of organic agro input, and biofertilizers such as Rhizobium, as we have already discussed about them, and other bacteria is Azotobacter, Azospirillum, blue green algae, have been used in this course for the production of biofertilizer from a very long time. So Rhizobium inoculant is basically used for leguminous crops. So Azotobacter can be used with crops like wheat, maize, mustard, cotton, potato and other vegetable crops. You can see the picture of the Azospirillum species, which is also used as a biofertilizer. The inoculation of this Azospirillum are recommended mainly for the sorghum and millets, maize, sugarcane and wheat. So this strain basically helps to maintain the, or you can say enrich the plant with certain sort of nutrient elements. That's why they are acting as a fertilizer in biological form. That's why they are known as biofertilizers. Likewise, you can see here the picture of a nostoc species, in which the heterocyst is being shown here. The picture of Acetiloria, these are the organisms which are coming under the category of BGA, that is blue green algae, belonging to which the general cyanobacterial category. So nostoc or Anabina, Tolipothrix, Allosyra, they fix the atmospheric nitrogen and are used as inoculation for the paddy crops. So different species of organisms, they are correlated with the different plant species in which they are fixing the nitrogen or other elements and acting as a biofertilizer. So these organisms, they are used in paddy crops and grown both under upland and lowland conditions. Likewise, you can see the picture of Anabina, which is a green algae. Anabina in association with the water fern, that is it's a pteridophyte. Azolla is a pteridophyte. It contributes nitrogen up to 60 kg per hectare per season and also enriches soils with organic matter. Seaweeds are rich in various types of mineral elements, potassium, phosphorus, trace elements, etc. Hence, they are extensively used as manure by the people of coastal districts. So, seaweeds manure also helps in breaking down clays. Fucus, it's a brown algae. It is used by the Irish people as manure on a large scale. In tropical countries, bottom mud of dried up ponds which contain abundant blue-green algae is regularly used as manure in fields. The mixture of seaweeds and blue-green algae may serve as ideal fertilizers. Now you can see the example of glomus. It's a fungi, and fungi are also known to form the symbiotic association with the plants, which are known as mycorrhiza. So this mycorrhizal combination basically it can be seen by many members of the genus Glomus, which forms the mycorrhiza. The fungal symbiont in these association basically absorbs the phosphorus from the soil. You can see the actual combination of this fungus with the roots of the plant in an electron microscopic view. So and it passes it to the plant. So plants having such association shows other benefit also, such as resistance to root-borne pathogens, tolerant to salinity and drought, and overall increase in plant growth and development. So Glomus is basically a genus of herbascular mycorrhizal fungi, and all species form symbiotic relationship with the plants. It's all about this mycorrhizal association. That is, this term actually mycorrhiza was first of all coined by Frank in 1885, which simply means an association of fungi with the roots of higher plants. So the nature of this association is a true symbiosis, that is mutualism. You will study this under the next section of the informations which are coming under the category of ecology later in your studies. The mycorrhizal roots basically they lack a root cap and root hairs, so they change their shapes and may become tuberous, nodulated, and corolloid. So these actually acts as a interface and provides the close relationship in which both the plants, that is plant and this fungi, they are being benefited mutually. So it is acting as a example for the mutualism. Now what are the basic advantages of using biofertilizers in agriculture? So it can be you can say listed out in the form of the different examples like azotobacter and microphobes. Basically these are the biofertilizers which increases the 15 to 35% additional yield in most of the vegetable crops. Besides fixing atmospheric nitrogen, cyanobacteria they synthesize and excrete several growth hormones like auxin and ascorbic acid ABA, and vitamins like B12, which enhance the seed germination and growth of the crop plants. Likewise, some of the biofertilizers they enhance the crop yield even under ill irrigated condition where chemical biofertilizers are not doing the same thing. So biofertilizers do not cause any atmospheric pollution. They are cheap and economical. They can even be used by poor farmers. And some of the biofertilizers they excrete antibiotics, and they are acting as biopesticides. So generally biofertilizers they improve the physical and chemical properties of the soil, like water holding capacity. It increases the buffer capacity. So it's better to use the biological agents for agricultural purpose. Thank you.